The last 2 weeks, we've seen teams kind of hit you with that inside shovel. How difficult is that to defend, and how do you kind of correct that
Yeah.
moving forward?
I think that that particular play, we've seen. I guess probably Tebow and those guys at Florida were one of the first ones that started doing that in the what was that the late 2000s, and it's kind of been sprinkled in when teams sprinkle it in just here and there. It's really challenging for your guys up front, some of their eye progression, because you're getting an action at you that looks like sprint out for a quarterback or option for a quarterback, and then all of a sudden they're pitching the ball back underneath behind us trying to pursue. And so you've got to be very disciplined, very detailed in doing that. And then obviously your backside pursuit has to be able to fit and get back over top. So it's a challenging play. It's a really good wrinkle. It's one that we're probably going to continue to see every single week. And so we're looking at the different ways that they can do those plays and that they can run those things so that we can be prepared, for what nobody's going to do it exactly the same way necessarily, right? But they're going to have their own nuance. And so it's, again, it's a hard play that we've got to get prepared for.
Coach Wommack was asked this a minute ago, but I want to ask you as well. The shovel pass has hurt y'all defensively. Obviously, the last couple of games, South Carolina came back with one after Vanderbilt sprung two. Just from a game planning standpoint, is that something you got to expect to see once a week until you get it stopped?
No question. I mean, and it's going to get thrown at you different ways. The personnel or the formations that people line up in, you're going to try to find, from an offensive standpoint, putting those, shoes on and just trying to, understand what that's going to look like in their scheme. And so it's going to be presented a different way. It's 15, 20 years ago. I was running that quite a bit myself. It's because it's a play that, you have to defend. And, again, it might be presentation off of a boot. It might be presentation a sprint out option. But you got to identify where everyone's at. Everyone's got to fit their gaps. Apply your rules is really the significance of it. And, people are going to use different things to try to really challenge your eye discipline as a defense. And that's one of the plays that obviously the last 2 weeks has been utilized in that way to challenge us in that regard.
Coach, what's the in-game adjustment process like between you and Coach Wommack?
Yeah, I think the key in any game plan is to try to have really almost everything you have in the plan as far as your adjustments. Now, when you're on defense, I think there are some things that will pop up that you haven't seen on film, that you got to refer back to something that you've done with calls in the past. And you try to really minimize that as much, because the things you practice are the things the guys are comfortable with, especially week 5, 6, still as a new team with a new defensive scheme. And so, we don't have a lot of these banked reps from a year ago with all our guys, or even 10 or 11 games worth. It's new things that pop up, and we try to make the simplest adjustments to where our guys can still play fast. Down the road, this will all continue to bank as far as the reps we have, the experiences we have. We can recall on something that we did as an adjustment, in the past, hopefully in the future, and execute quicker and better in the games ahead. But as far as the process between he and I, we're just constantly, between series, talking on the phones real quick, just like I do with the offensive side, just hearing what the next move is, or for offense would be, hey, what are you thinking the next drive? What's the starter? What's your next third and medium, third and short, third and long? And then also defensively, what are some of those adjustments maybe in those situations, or how we think they're going to come out based on the flow of the situation in the game.